Okay, so you're moving really fast for me. I'm actually stuck on this right here, figuring this out, and I'm not sure it works, but I'm in touch with some guys over there, and I'm gonna find out. I think that's half of the problem why I'm stuck with some stuff. But so I'm still back on just that, and you've got about 8 other things going. So anyway, here's your latest machine file that you just loaded up, and I wanted to show you the sim, and I think I can answer a couple of the questions you were answering too without getting into, you can get into so much more detail with SBC Cycle because he actually knows machines and the running of them, so he understands a lot of stuff that I got to sit there and figure out. So anyway, here's your machine, the way it loads on mine, the way you set it up. And see that space? That doesn't work. So here's the BobCAD tool. Now, what I was telling you is this is where we're doing a lot of confusing and we're tripping limits that we don't think should be tripped. So, for instance, my original goal in doing this was I wanted to set up a machine file so you could use both of these heads whenever you wanted to and do it properly. So what that looks like is if we go into your, let's quit the sim. So if we go into your sim right now, your STLs are loaded up off of that table right there, right? And so that comes in over here is the holder transform. So if we go into here and we put 50 in there in your Z transform for your machine, then when we simulate, what that's done is that's pushed that STL down to meet where the top of your tool is defined. So now you have that. And so what we could do though is if we put both of these on a if we put these Z, we make another transform for these Z slides. I was kind of hoping, obviously I'm not sure at this point. Let's just keep it simple and get what you want. You've already got what you want to work. We're just figuring out these tooling questions you have. But I just kind of wanted to show you that what you could do if we can get these on their own transform also, then what you can do is make two machines, either make two machine files, or and when you wanted to use your second one and get a proper simulation, then you would just come into this holder transform, and then you would put your minus 304.8. I think you said in the forum was your Z head shift, and then what you would do, and with that, and then change the Z, this proper Z value of the other transform, the one that's attached to the other head. And then what you would have is it would essentially move everything over, and that head would be down and this transform would be pushed back up, and you could move everything in and out of the way. So you could put both of these down at zeros and then have different transforms for them to move up and down as you want, and either in separate files or you just quickly go to the machine definition for the job you want. So right now, because you have them set as STLs as two different sizes, if I was to push this down now so that that met up your tool to look right, this would just be down on the table and look ugly. So that answers that. Now, I think you were also asking a question about the tooling and where it meets up, and I think that's also something that I was kind of stuck with in figuring out, and it's really where I get stuck because I just don't understand the numbers that we got going. So if I put these, for instance, all back at 0, and then let's say I go in now to, so the simulation now would be back with that space like you originally had it set up. So if I go in here now and I go to my tools and I change, let's say, my protrusion length to 80, right? And my protrusion length to 80. So now I'm manipulating this part of the tooling, right? Let's recompute that tool path. Now if I go and simulate, I still get a simulation, but what it's actually had to do though was it actually had to, it raised, now I have a longer protrusion length, but this space stays here. You're not taking away this space with that. So I'm actually raising my z-axis by changing the longer tool or changing the tooling. And then, so for instance, if I, okay, let's quit the simulation. And let's say if I go back to my tooling again, and not that this is real, but this, I think this is answering some questions you had. If I had a protrusion length of 130, for instance, let's calculate those, and I try to sim, I'm going to get axis error because now my z-axis is going way deeper than what it's allowed to do. But that's because that STL, that space is there, and it's actually pushing the tool. It has to push the tool further down for all those definitions to work. But if I went in and changed my holder transform again to 50, and now I can simulate it because I've no longer exceeded those axes. Now, I think that kind of answers something to do, you know, a little with your tooling. It should give you enough to know, oh, you know what to do, because you're talking, see, now I have that super long tool, but I haven't broken my axis. Now, the trick for me that I haven't followed through with that is, how does that change the code output? See, those are, and that's the kind of stuff with your work offset that you've, now you can change your work offset value, these values again, and produce axis limits. So it's really, you got to really get down where these things are, and you know, you got to remember, if you're defining right, you define right here as a 0, and then your tooling is going to change all those limits and stuff. Now, I think, now is that all work, is the simulator doing that correctly, and or is it handling something wrong? I particularly, and that's what I'm in the question of asking a guy, is I think we're not being allowed to post a difference between real machine coordinates and work coordinates. So it's actually shoving some real machine values into the work coordinate output, and that's actually, that's make, the limits aren't being read one way or the other. I could be wrong. That's just my guess. That's what I'm telling them, and I'm waiting for a response back. Anyway, I hope that helps you with the tooling thing. Okay.